All right, traders, I'm going to be updating the top stocks that I'm going to be watching into the rest of this week. We're going to be going over the key make it or break it levels, and this is going to give you a much better understanding of the levels that I'm interested in trading, the best setups at the best prices. We're going to be going over the key levels to buy the dip and the key levels to short and buy put options. You could trade these both ways. Within this video, we're going to be covering SPY, DWAC, CRSR, Roku, Limit, Target, Shopify, Crux. We got some phenomenal trading setups at very key make it or break it resistance levels. This is going to give you a much better understanding on how to trade the best setups at the best prices. First things first, we're going to be going over the SPY. Make sure you stay to the end because I have very important updates on DWAC, and I got a new play that's coming up, Target, and we got some plenty other great opportunities as well. So this is what I want you to understand about the SPY. The SPY has been trading in a channel for 3 days. This used to be a resistance level right here at $395. It is now the bottom of the channel. Hence, the bulls are turning previous support into resistance, which means they're trying to take control for the micro. For the micro direction, they are trying to gain control. We've been stuck in a channel for about 3 days right now, and this is what I want you to understand about this channel. So as of now, SPY closed at 398.50. That's going to be a key level for tomorrow. It's having a very small, tiny micro gap down. But I want you to understand is we've been trading in a very small channel. So the bottom of this channel, we're going to say is 395, 394.60. And the top of this channel, we're going to say is like 402 to 403, more ideally 403. I believe we hit 403 in the pre-market. Let me double check this here for you guys. So yes, we did hit 403.54 in the pre-market, and then we sold off to fill the gap. As you can see right here, SPY has had back-to-back gap close reversals, meaning when SPY gaps up and it opens up higher than it previously closes like it did today, it goes back down to fill the gap. Once it fills the gap, it has a very nice gap close reversal, reverses, right? Same thing happened right here, except it was the inverse. This is where you could have went short and played puts. SPY had a gap down and it reacted as a resistance level multiple times towards the top of the channel, having a gap close reversal. These small little micro moves you're seeing, you don't even need a big move like this. These small moves on same day expirations, and if you do it with SPX, the gains could be double to triple plus. These are big gains. These small little drops are like 30, 40, 50% plus, sometimes 100% plus, especially if you can get them towards the end of the day, towards 2 or 3 p.m. on same day expirations. So always be aware of that when scalping. Now, this is what I want you to understand about the SPY. It's been sitting in this channel, and this is a level that you need to be aware of. This 403.10. 403.10 to 403.50, the pre-market highs today. This is what we call a gap breakout. As you could see, this was a former resistance level with very nice downside potential to $391 the same day it topped out at this key level. So if you ever see SPY break above 403 and instead of a roof is forming and it's forming support, it's forming a floor, like it did on this day, right? So if you see a floor ever forming at 403, it's reacting very bullish, it's forming support, it's forming a floor. That is when you're going to see the bulls take control of the top of the channel, and that is when SPY will skyrocket to fill the gap. It's called a gap breakout because when, SPY or stock gaps down, when it goes above the high of this daily candle, the day it gaps down, there is no resistance. It's going to start to break out to fill the gap, right? So that's what I want you to understand. Key level, $403. Make or break. If it reacts as a resistance, micro bearish back to the low of this channel. If it breaks out and forms a floor, micro bullish, it starts to fill the gap. If that were to occur and it reacted bullish, $410.97 would be the best price to short and buy puts for the gap, right? Now, let's speak about where we are at right now. So it's consistently bottoming at support and it keeps trying to push higher, but it did have a gap fake out where it touched that gap level and it faked out, right? So that means the bears are trying to take control of the micro, but the bulls are still in control of the micro overall because we're still above previous resistance of this low channel at 395. But the bears are truly trying to step in at that 403 level. Like I said, initial reactions, you will usually see reversals at key levels initially. $400 was a nice key whole round number. We saw an initial reversal. Then we trended higher. $403 was a key gap breakout resistance level. We saw a reversal. Then it's starting to trend back up. Already it closed nearly towards the top of this channel. Not quite, but towards the middle top, you could say. So this is what I want you to understand heading into tomorrow. How does this look? Based off the daily chart, based off the micro, it looks like we're going to be chopping in a channel. I wouldn't say this looks very, very bullish for the short term. What I would say is it hit the gap breakout level. It faked out. This doesn't look super bullish to me. But again, what matters is how it reacts. So our key level heading into tomorrow that is going to set the tone for tomorrow is going to be the previous closing price. $398.50. If it breaks out and turns that into support, it's going to go bullish to $400. If it breaks above $400, then it goes to 403. So these key levels that I'm mentioning, I just enter and exit my trades based off that one level, right? So if I see SPY faking out at 403, my target would be towards like the next support level, which would be like, $400, $401, right around there. It's just small, quick scalps, 20, 30, 40% gainers, rinse and repeat. So I'm really only aiming for one key level. I'm not holding for two support levels. I'm not holding for two resistance. I'm not holding for multiple levels. And I'm trying to trade these at the lower and the higher end of the channels. So the higher end would be that 403. The lower end would be that 395. Right now, we're in the upper middle. Well, we're towards the middle. We're towards basically the middle of the channel. 398.50 is make or break. If it reacts to support, if it forms a floor, it's going to go bullish to 400. If it breaks above 400, it goes to 403. If 398.50 reacts as a resistance, you see that struggling, reacting as a resistance, it's gapping down, it's looking bearish, then we sell back off to 394.30. If 390.40s cracks, that's the ultimate bearish signal for a drop to $390. Those are your key levels. So in terms of breakdown below the channel, if we crack 395, we go to 390 overall. In terms of breakout of channel, if we break above 403, we're going to start to fill that gap towards 410.97. 398.50 is your current make or break. We are chopping in the channel. The key levels that you're going to want to watch for during this channel is going to be 395 the low and 403 the top, and the previous closing price at 398.50. Keep an eye on all of those levels and be aware that SPY has now had 2 gap close reversals in a row. So this pattern, pay attention to gap close reversals. If it gaps down, see if it reacts as a resistance at 398.50. If so, then scalp some puts, right? If you see a gap down like this, then it pops back up. It's forming bearish wicks. It's forming a roof. This is a roof, triple top, multiple bearish wicks, right? Scalp the puts and bank, right? If it gaps up, wait for it to go back to 398.50. If it's forming a floor, reacting bullish wicks, then buy the dip. See how simple that is, man? Bearish wicks, roof at the top. When it gaps down, hits the previous closing price, trend reversal. Bullish wicks, when it gaps up, trend reversal, right? So play the previous closing price and also pay attention to 395 and 403. Those are your best levels heading into this week. And then for key major micro trend reversals as well, 390 and 410. Those are more future levels. So I'm going to set some alerts with you guys. We're going to do one below the channel, and I don't like trading below the channel. So if it looks bearish at 395, I don't buy puts at support because it's at support. I don't want to do that. So we'll set one towards that key level. We got one above. We'll set one towards the previous closing price right here. When it breaks down below this channel or breaks out above the channel, instead of chasing, I just like to wait for it to go to the next key level for the reversal. So for example, if 403 had a breakout, then I look for the 411 short. If 390 had a breakdown, then I look for, if 395 had the breakdown, then I look at 390 potentially. Just initial micro reactions. Also send alert, man. If we ever hit this level, I would look to go fairly sized in nicely on some call options with the SPY. Right here at 374. That's a more macro level where if you see bullish confirmations or a bullish daily candle. So write down all those levels, man. But let's get into our plays now. So in terms of our plays, let's go over DWAC. So in terms of DWAC stock, as you guys know, the whole announcement with Trump and everything, right, goes down tonight. With that being said, we did see a spike. What am I seeing here? I'm seeing the previous closing price reacting as a resistance. So my video as of now was 100% spot on. I told people, do not chase this. Do not buy the breakout. Do not hope for the impossible to happen, right? We've confirmed we have very strong resistance at this gap right here. There was a gap to fill, which was previous support with big downside potential at $29. As you know, on this day, I bought puts at $28, held overnight, sold the next day for 110% when the market opened. And then from there, I told you guys, I'm waiting for a gap to fill. I'm waiting for it to go back to 28, or I'm waiting for it to go back to 17s to dip by. Eventually, you will see this stock in the 17s and 16s, and you will see a lot of bag holders and investors get trapped because they're betting against gap close reversals. They don't understand how stocks fill their gaps and have reversals. They just don't understand the technical strategy. These are investors. They're fundamental traders. But what I want you to understand is, in terms of DWAC, this is not a good look. This is not a good look for DWAC stock here. I'm just going to lay it out. This looks super fucking bearish. And the reason why is it's forming lower highs and it's having nonstop gap close reversals. So there's a gap to fill here at $28. Like I told you guys, you see it reacting as a resistance. You're going to want to buy puts. Well, it hit that $28 level and it sold off. It sold off to $24.78 today. Now, there was a gap right here and it had another gap close reversal. So it's having back-to-back gap close reversals, just like you saw the SPY did this week. So there was a gap to fill here. It filled the gap. It had a reversal, came back down to fill this gap. Once it filled this gap, which is at $25.09, it had another nice reversal. It had a nice little spike during extended hours, but this is what I want you to understand, man. DWAC is in the process of having gap close reversals and it's forming lower highs. So $28 were your overall lower highs on daily. It topped at the gap. Ever since it topped at that 28, it couldn't push back to 30, which is bearish. It's forming lower highs, turning these key support levels into resistance levels. And what I want you to understand is we now have, so it had a gap close reversal right here, which is normal for it to spike right here. But look at what it's doing. It's turning today's previous closing price, $27.83, into a lower high right here and already selling off. That is so bearish. That is super bearish for DWAC stock. Look at what happened the last time. It sat 2 days at the $28 level right here. It sat 2 days and now it's sat 2 days. Look at what happened the third day. It sold off hard. This is super bearish. All it's going to take for the bears to dominate this stock, very simple. It just needs to crack $25. It just needs to stay below $27.80, $28, stay below that range. And then if it can do that, it cracks 25. If it cracks 25, within time, we will no longer be able to hold up towards this $22 mark. We will crack $22 and sell off hard to 1750s. Basically, what I'm saying is the way I see this is if we can just crack 25 and form new lower highs and turn that into resistance, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should crack this $20 support and sell off to fill the gap in 1750 within the next 3 weeks, I would say. So obviously, I'm interested in swing trading puts. I just need a little bit more confirmation. I just want to see how it reacts heading into tomorrow morning. That's going to tell me everything I need to know about this swing trade. So if it's forming lower highs, it's looking bearish on the daily chart right before the market closes tomorrow, and it's not looking bullish at all right before the market closes, then I will swing puts right before the market closes, right? So I didn't do anything yet simply because I didn't want to hold through any sort of news or big announcement event. I didn't want to do that. Now, based off of what the chart is telling me, it's super bearish. It's super bearish. But what's going to really matter is how we react heading into tomorrow. Based off of everything I'm seeing, this is extremely bearish. Like I said, I pointed out that pattern in my previous video where right here, DWAC gaps down. DWAC gaps down. You see how it gaps down? Then it recovers. 3 nice green bars on the daily. It fills the gap. What happens when it fills the gap? It starts to reverse. It starts to reverse. It's consolidating towards the highs. It's choppy. And then within some time, about 2 weeks, big sell off to 1520. Stock drops 50%. So yeah, big move's going to happen in about 2 weeks. A huge move's going to happen in 2 to 3 weeks. And if the bulls can't break above 28 and turn that into support and we crack this 25, you better believe we're selling right back off to 1750s, and all those bag holders are going to get stuck at the top who are hoping for a breakout when this already went up 100% from the lows based off of this hype, that the announcement of the Trump situation, right? Sell the news, man. Sell the fucking news. Don't be a sucker. Look at this. The stock went from $30 all the way to $20. I can't believe people hold through that. They actually hold through that and say, wow, it's going to break out. Like, are you fucking blind? That's a massive drop. Look at what the chart is telling you. Just look at what the chart is telling you based off this pattern and previous support is reacting as resistance. This is so bearish. Look at your downside potential. It went from $30 to $15.20 in literally a month. This is super bearish. Look at this pattern right here. 3 green days. It fills the gap. It chops at the highs. Massive sell-off. 3 green bars. Fills the gap. Chops at the highs. Massive sell-off coming, right? I will know by tomorrow. I'm speaking a little bit too soon. And yes, I do believe based off of what I'm seeing, I think we can pump back to $28. I think we could hit $29. But based off of every technical factor that I'm seeing right now, there's no reason to be hoping for the impossible of $28, $29 to break out, turn into support. Now, in terms of your bull thesis, you need to break above 28 and you need to turn into support. That's what you need. And then from there, you have to break above 29. And then from there, you have to break above 30. It's like the amount of walls that they have to break through and turn into support is truly unbelievable with the amount of downside potential and gaps to fill below. It just blows my mind that any technical trader would actually go long and hold this. But again, I'll gladly take their money because at the end of the day, someone has to lose money in the market. And I believe the ones who are holding are going to be the ones betting against my strategy. I mean, just look at this chart. It looks like a fucking bloodbath is going to be coming within the next 3 weeks, right? So this isn't going to be like my last swing trade where I buy puts right before it closes and I make 100% the next day. That's what this is not going to be. Every trade is created differently. And like I said, this is going to be a 3-week swing trade. I'm going to buy puts a month out, stay out the money, look to get in towards a rip. I just need my confirmation. If I get my confirmation tomorrow, I'm going to start to enter. Well, what's the best entry? $28. $27.80 to $28 is the best entry. I'm waiting for a confirmation. I'm seeing it's having a gap close reversal here, which is bearish, but it also had a gap close reversal right here, which means the bulls are trying to step in. However, it's looking very, very bearish. The previous closing price was at $27.80. It got slapped hard from that $27.80 level. It's already heading back. The way I see it, it's nearly done. It's just going to take some time. And again, the reason why I say a couple weeks is because I'm basing this off of that pattern. I'm basing this off the pattern. It's not, I don't think it's going to be able to crash or skyrocket as quickly as it was. I think it's going to start to dry up a bit. It's going to start to dry up a bit. Look at what it did right here. It had these 3 big green bars. It filled the gap. Had these 3 big green bars, filled the gap. And then what did it start to do? It started to dry up a little bit. It started to lose some steam. It started to dry up a bit. People are going to realize that this is just a classic sell the fucking news play. And the chart told the story. The chart, the patterns, everything told the story. If you want to see something crazy, look at this chart. You want to know what DWAC looks like to me from a technical factor? Let me show you something. This is the yearly chart of DWAC. You want to see what this looks like in my eyes? It looks like MULN. If you guys go back and watch my video when MULN was at 50 cents, I told people this stock is going to absolutely get collapsed, and it dropped 50% in 2 days. Just like DWAC stock dropped 20% the next day I made my video. And I'm going to absolutely crush it again because the strategy works. It's not going to work 100% of the time, but I will be right 7 out of 10 times. And I know risk management and position sizing strategies where I only need to be right 30% of the time. So I'm chilling, man. It's just all icing on the cake. But look at this. These are very strong. These were very strong support levels on DWAC. This level right here and this level right here. This $36 and $32 level. There's very nice lows with big upside potential. Once they reacted as a resistance, it sold off very, very, very hard. And now you're seeing those lower highs coming in on the daily. Look at MULN. The MULN was the same fucking story with this chart. Look at this one right here. Let me go to see right here. Key support, massive upside potential. And then right here, it reacts as a resistance, massive downside potential. Pops back up, reacts as a resistance, massive downside potential, goes back down to fill the gaps. DWAC is literally doing the same exact thing. You have key support, massive upside potential, key support, nice upside potential, reacts as a resistance, It looks so fucking bearish. So if you are bullish, you need to stay above 25 and you need to break above 28, turn that into support. You need to break above $30, turn that into support. If you cannot do that by the end of the week, you are absolutely fucked holding this. I'm just going to be very blunt about that because every technical factor is literally triggering that within the next 3 weeks, it's going to collapse. And it's a little too early to say this, but based off of everything that I'm seeing and based off of everything that I've been saying, it's literally doing exactly what I expected it to do. I told people, don't chase the top. Don't buy when it hits the gap. That's where you want to short and play puts. I didn't play puts there when it hit the gap because I want to wait a little bit. I want to wait a little bit past the news. I already crushed it once, and that was before the news. Now the news is coming out, so I just want to see how people react. But based off of everything that I'm seeing so far, and I'll know by tomorrow into the close, that's when I'll be certain and know and put my money where what it is that I'm seeing, if it does react bearish, right? But based off of everything that I'm seeing right now, this is super bearish. This is super bearish. Okay, so our next stock is going to be Roku. So in terms of Roku, what I want you to understand about Roku is, we're just sitting at the top for 2 days. There's a gap to fill here at 62.40. It's starting to look bearish. If we can drop under like 58.50, I would scalp some puts. 58.30 to 58.50. You see the previous closing price, $59 reacts as a resistance. I would scalp some puts for a nice move to like 55.50. So pay attention to that key scalp. We're looking for a breakdown. We're looking for a breakdown on a Roku here. That's what we're looking for, a nice little breakdown. It doesn't look that bullish overall. In terms of our next stock, CRSR, there was a gap to fill right here. It filled the gap down, had a reversal, just like DWAC recently did. With that being said, I got an alert set at $18. If it hits $18, reacts as a resistance. I look to scalp puts for reversal, looking to short towards that level. One that I really like is Target. Target has filled the gap. There's a gap to fill at major resistance with nice downside potential right here at $180. The game plan is to short the first red day. When you see this gap down, when you see it reacting bearish, best thing you can do is wait for it to go back up to the previous closing price and then to short buy the puts into the resistance. That's the best thing you could do. If it's not too far away from the previous closing price, you can get in a little bit earlier as a starting position. Best thing to do, wait for the first red day and short it. What's the best entry on the first red day? Well, the best entry on the first red day is the previous closing price. Write that down. When it gaps down and it's the first red day, it's been inflated, it fills the gap. We're waiting for the gap close reversal confirmation. When it gaps down, best entry is the previous closing price. Write that down. So very interested in watching Target. It's at such a key make it or break it level that nobody's talking about. Shopify. In terms of Shopify, it's at very key resistance. It's forming a bearish candlestick gapping up. It looks like it wants to go back to $38.40. If we can crack $40 and turn that into resistance, I will look to go short and I will look to ride puts back down. Look at how it reacted here. Look at how it's reacting here. Looks bearish for the micro. Interested in shorting Shopify on that first red day, keyword first red day, along with Target. So first red day shorts are Target and Shopify, waiting for the first red day on those. Those are my favorite ones. So out of everything, my favorite setups right now are DWAC. That's going to be like a 3-week swing. Target, Shopify, and SPY. Those are my top 4. That's mainly what I'm interested in. So yeah, those are the best setups at the best prices. I'm preparing you guys in advance for what it is that I'm looking at. And like I said, for Shopify and Target, we're waiting for the first red day. Once they have their first red day, we look to short towards previous closing price. If it's not too far off previous closing price, then we could short sell it, a little bit earlier as a starting position and play the puts at the money with the closest expiration to day trade those, right? To day trade. And then we have an upcoming swing trade in terms of DWAC. Basically, we've been studying this pattern that I pointed out days ago, where once it fills this gap, you have the nice 3 green bars on the third green day. It fills the gap, then it starts to reverse. Well, right here, nice green bars, fills the gap, starting to reverse, right? So everything's occurring. So based off the pattern, everything's working to a T with this pattern. And in terms of, well, where are we with the pattern right now? Well, this is where we'd be at right now. We'd be on this day right here. So as you could see, there was a small little pump 2 days later. And we know the announcement news is coming out and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait a little bit. I'm not going to rush into anything. Once I get some wicks, if we get, a bearish wick, if we get some lower highs, if we get a red candle, if we get a bearish doji, if we get that on the daily chart right before the market closes, that is when I will enter my puts. When is that expected to occur? That is expected to occur by Thursday. By Thursday to Friday, I should be in the puts. Might even take some starters. Most likely not, but might even take some starters into tomorrow. I'm really waiting towards Thursday. That Thursday is going to be my key day in terms of, what's the best entries? Like I said, the best entries are $20, $27.80, $28, $29. Those are your best entries. Don't nickel and dime this swing trade. It's going to be 2 to 3 weeks out, but do aim for good entries. And we just got to wait a little bit for confirmation. But the way I see it is, it looks absolutely horrendous for the bulls. And I think they're hanging on by a thread. And I think we're getting to that point where that sell-off is going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. So that's the play. It's not going to be this, let me buy puts, swing overnight, make 100%. That's not what this is. It's not like last time. I'm expecting it to take 3 weeks, not 1 day. Every play is created equally. I think they're going to chop at the highs. I think there's going to be more hopium. I think there's going to be some small spike ups. But I believe they will fail. I believe they will fail, and I believe this will start to fill the gap in the 17s within the next 3 weeks. Now, in terms of confirmation, there's some confirmations, but it's not 100% yet. Like I said, I'm just waiting for daily candles to react bearish. So what's that look like? Well, right here, this is bearish, lower highs. This is a bearish doji. That's what I'm looking for. These don't form until the market closes. So I don't know what these fucking candlesticks are going to look like until, 3:55 p.m., right before the market closes. But when I know what they look like and I see my confirmation, you will see me seize the moment without hesitation and take advantage of those, swing trading put option opportunities, right? So everything that I've been saying has been occurring and repeating. And based off of what I'm seeing and saying right now, we just need to wait a little. Look for some spikes. We get the spikes, look for some lower highs. Then we get the lower highs. We see the spikes. Then we get the bearish candles. We get those bearish candlesticks. We get the volume fading at the highs. It's going to be good to go to swing trade puts. So it's just it's a tad bit too early in my opinion. And if it does crash sooner than I expect it to, then it is what it is. I have no fear in missing out. I'm very patient with my process. That's how I'm able to time and enter perfectly, because I understand on when it is and where it is I should be entering, right? Based off the patterns and based off the history that I'm seeing. So in terms of the bulls, if we are rejecting this $28 all week and you see bearish candles on the daily and it's consolidating towards highs on daily, have fun selling at $18 in 3 weeks. That's all I'm going to say to you. So with that being said, guys, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to absolutely crush this play. Like I said, I know I'm extremely confident. I just need the confirmations, and everything that I'm seeing right now is looking good, but it's not 100% confirmed yet. So we just got to wait like 2 more days, pretty much. Just about 2 days, I'll know if it's bullish or bearish. And if it's bullish, I'm not buying the top looking for a breakout. I will miss out on that move any day, right? Because I don't buy high, I buy low. And no matter what happens, there will be an opportunity by the end of this year to buy DWAC at $17.48. So you can write that down for those of you who are invested into this stock and want to save a fucking fortune. If you do want to invest into this stock, wait till $17.50 to $16.33. And there's no guarantee that you're going to make any money there, but that's what I would wait to. And that's where I'm interested in buying call options and swing trading DWAC. So I'm very patient with my process. I understand how to take people's money. I understand overreactions. I understand, this is overreacting at the gap and it's having a reversal. It's forming those lower highs. Once 25 cracks, it's an absolute bloodbath back to fill the gap within a week to 2 weeks. I understand this pattern where it goes up for 3 days. It goes up for 3 days. It fills the gap, has a reversal, chops the highs. It fills the gap, has a reversal, chops the highs. And then in just a couple short weeks, it sells off and gets hammered. The only thing that's going to change that and change my views to being bullish, but I still would never buy this high. I'd buy it down here if it looks bullish. See how there's a gap to fill right here? It fills the gap. That's bullish. That's bullish. Bullish pin fills the gap. 52-week lows, has a reversal. Isn't it crazy how good things happen when you buy low, but bad things happen when you buy high? You guys remember Dogecoin when everyone was so hyped that Elon Musk was going to, go on the Saturday Night Show or whatever the fuck it was, right? That talk show. Well, once he got on the show, Dogecoin basically dropped 50% in a single week. But before he went on the show, it pumped like crazy. Isn't it interesting how that works? And isn't it interesting how DWAC, based off of how it's reacting, is literally already looking bearish? This doesn't look bullish. Yeah, it's having a gap up, but overall, it's just not looking good. I think we can pump back to $28 easily. I think it can happen, but it's just not looking good. You have very strong rejections at previous closing price, and it keeps on dropping. This looks absolutely horrific. Speaking in 2 to 3 weeks in advance, for the short term, I could see a little pump, but $30, $29, yeah, right. This is gonna sell right back off in a couple weeks. So I try to save investors money. If they listen, man. This is why Trader Society, my programs do so well. Because I'll tell a guy who's investing or buying a stock really, really high, I'll tell him not to buy it, and then I'll tell him to buy puts. He'll sell his long position, he'll bank, then he'll buy puts, he'll bank again, and then the stock will collapse 50%. I'll be like, oh my gosh, man, imagine if I held that long position and didn't play those puts. You saved me twice. So it's like, it is what it is, man. I try to help people, but not everyone's going to listen. I'm literally telling people, you can rebuy DWAC at $17.50, most likely, in the next 3 weeks to a month. I'll tell them, and they don't listen. and then they lose thousands of dollars. And then some people question me, oh my gosh, that guy's charging a fee. Do you realize how much money people are losing not knowing and, doing what it is that I'm teaching? So it just is what it is. That's why my business does so well in the long run, because I understand where to get people out, and I understand, when they should be selling their long positions, and I understand when they should be buying put options. And I also understand when they should be rebuying. Like I said, if you want to rebuy 1633 to 1748, those are your key levels. Now, when the stock hits that price, that doesn't mean I buy it. DWAC hit $28. That's where I wanted to buy puts again, but that doesn't mean I buy it. I wait for confirmations. I wait for the right timing. There's a process to it. It's not solely based off of price, right? You got to play things safe. It's like a game of chess, right? Who's going to win the game of the chess? The person buying when it's up 100%, when it already went up based off of the news that was going to be announced in advance? Who's going to win? The person buying Doge when it's up God knows how much, and then it goes up more because people are saying Elon's going on a talk show, and then when he goes on a talk show, are the people going to win when they're buying at the peak when he's talking on the show? No, because it's already perceived value. It's already priced in. Understand when something's priced in. That's how you can capitalize, by understanding when overreactions are priced in for reversals. That's how I was able to trade DWAC so successfully, because I understood a key moment in time where it made true sense that an overreaction was priced in. It's sitting at the top for two highs. The news doesn't come out till November 15th. It already went up 100% based off the news. It formed my bearish candlesticks to the gap close reversal. Do you think this is just going to hold for the next, week in advance until that news comes? No, it's going to drop. There's going to be a micro pullback, and I take advantage of that. I'm very strategic with my timing. So I'm absolutely going to crush DWAC stock, and I'm looking forward to it. And if I miss out, whether it's bullish or bearish, I have no regrets, because I have a very specific process that I stick to and that I'm disciplined with. So with that being said, guys, I will keep you updated on what it is that I decide to do. I currently have no positions.